Welcome to Ghosted by the Machine, the podcast where job seekers break through the algorithm and get heard. No filters, no bots, just 5 minutes of truth. I'm your host, Mark Lane, and today we have a special guest, someone that has seen hiring from both sides, inside corporate recruiting and now working directly with job seekers. She's a resume writer, recruiter, career therapist, and host of the That's Business podcast. Angela Buccellato, welcome to Ghosted by the Machine.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk with you today. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about your journey, what you're working on these days, how'd you find your way into resume writing, recruiting, and my favorite, career therapy, which we all need.
Well, I'll try to make this short and sweet, but I went to Penn State University. I actually got a recruiting gig, friend of a family member, the old school Italian here, and found myself in recruiting. Back to my internship days, got out of college, fell into defense recruiting, helping transitioning military vets find work. And I saw a need of the lack of information out there, honesty that said, hey, this is what a resume needs to be. And a lot of the information they were provided was outdated. So I was like, let me just write your resume for you. I've always been a good writer. One iteration of life was going to be a journalist. So I have that writing bone in me. So I got into defense recruiting. I loved it, did resume writing for free. And when I asked for a big raise, I got the degree. I worked hard. I'm number one in the company, right? And I'm asking for a raise. So come to find out, when I asked for my raise and my 0.1% commission percentage I had wasn't worth 1%, 0.01. I asked for a raise and they denied me for my raise. Come to find out, I'm making $18,000 less than my male counterparts at the company I worked for. So I was like, all right, we got to get out of here. So I go into technical recruiting. I saw, oh, this is an everyone issue. No, super technical people. Now we got the whole talks on AI and blockchain. I was learning this a decade ago. So now that has come to fruition, I'm like, oh, your girl's got this. So when I learned that, I'm like, this is an everyone issue. I have FaceTime with hiring managers that are saying we care about personality. You can have all the things on your resume, but if you don't have a personality, we ain't moving forward with you. So that's when I got started thinking about this further of people need to hear this. I've always been a big community builder from childhood, and that's when I started posting on LinkedIn, putting myself out there. And then in 2019, I go to Italy for a beautiful 2-week vacation. I come home. My boss and I didn't really get along. He had put me on a performance plan the day before I left and fired me the day I got home. You didn't have any work. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I in Italy halfway across the world not working? But that's when I learned about at-will employer states and what that looks like. So being a high performer my whole career, I was devastated. I'm like, I'm going to get fired. I've missed weekends, nights, holidays, nieces and nephew, cousin things to work, and I'm going to get fired. So that's when I had this idea of I need to have a company that preaches on honesty, that you can show up as you are, personality, tattoos, religion, sexuality, whatever that is, and be yourself and find a career that matches who you are, no matter your age, your race, your background. So it's been 7, 8 years coming up, and I haven't looked back. It hasn't been the easiest road, but now we really help job seekers find the right opportunity, and you get to be yourself and have fun side projects like a podcast or your own side business that really makes sense. So very fiery, if you can't tell that already, Mark. But yeah, I preach it from the rooftops and I absolutely love what I do.
Angela, I can't wait to ask you questions because I can feel the heat. So you worked on both sides of hiring, inside corporate recruiting and now directly with candidates. What's the biggest disconnect you still see between how people think hiring works and how it actually works?
There's so much. So there are so on the job seeker side, you always go to naturally, like my uncle who's been out of recruiting, uncle worked in HR for 20 years. Okay, great. But if your uncle's been retired for the last 10, our technology has changed a lot. Hiring trends change, resume trends change. So that's one of the disconnects. Or what we've seen with the pandemic and in recent years with content creators and people trying to make a buck, you can't just rely on people who have the followings for your career advice. If someone has not worked in recruiting or HR and is giving you advice on your career, run far away. There's a lot of noise out there, and I swear, Mark, I've aged 10 years in the last 2 years of all the bad advice there is in the world. So I don't want to get up here and sound like a miserable old lady here, but you need to make sure you're vetting your sources, you're getting direct contacts from people, and you're working with people like myself who I've built applicant tracking systems. I understand how they work, and I've been a recruiter. I mean, tooting my own horn here, I've recruited from Alaska to Iraq all over the world for some of the biggest companies in the world. Like, you need to get advice from people that have that same expertise. I think there's a lot of noise out there and it's not a one size fits all. Even with all the clients we work with, I can have 5 clients all with the exact same background, the exact same degrees or no degrees or just the same resume in a sense. I'm not going to give you the same advice because it's depends where you're at in your life. Do you have young kids at home? Do you have some medical issues going on? So there's just so much going on, and we're really just getting back to basics. You need to build your network. And I hate the whole network thing, like the suit and tie, but your network or your connections, it could be alumni from high school you went to, it could be from your book club, it could be from people that also love the Detroit Tigers, like we were talking about before we started recording. So when people think networks, they think like, I got to get dressed up and go to networking events. No, it's use the people you're already friends with, family friends with, cousins with. You need to get back to basics of building those connections and building those partnerships because that's how you're getting your booty, your foot in the door at these organizations.
Right. Well, I'm old enough to remember the Rolodexes, so
Yes.
that used to be the thing. So, speaking of resume trends changing constantly, right now, what are job seekers still doing that simply doesn't work anymore, even if it used to?
You can't, the one page resume has something that people always think you have to have a page resume. If you have even 5, 10 years of experience, it's hard to put all of your experience on one page. You can have a 2 page resume, but you cannot simply just, and I hope and I pray and I wish this happens for every job seeker out there, that you can just submit the same resume, submit it in, get an interview, get an offer, right? It was the numbers game. What did we, 5, 10 years ago? It was like, if you submit to 50 applications, you should hear back from 20. You should get interviews from 10. You should get 5 offers. Those numbers aren't the same anymore. So you still need to tailor your resume per application. And I'm not saying redo the whole dang resume, Mark. I'm saying let's play buzzwords. So I worked as a recruiter, as mentioned. If someone's saying they want someone in talent acquisition, just change it to talent acquisition. It's a synonym. I'm not lying on my resume, but we have to work for these applicant tracking systems. And it's just not working the same anymore. And you cannot have what's called a functional resume where it's just, hey, here's my skills. Here's a list of the companies I worked for. So our functional resume would just be job title, company name, dates, no bullet points. You have to have bullet points and examples of your work experience. We can't do the, oh, well, okay, you've worked with Python, so you're a front end developer, so you must have this experience in X, Y, and Z. It's black and white now. It's on the resume or it's not. And I know that's a big change in the hiring process, but you have to do it. And we're also seeing, yes, the resume is important, but you need to have an online presence too. You need to be on LinkedIn. You need, if you have a portfolio of the work you've done, if it's applicable to your career path, absolutely you need to have it. So I'm telling anyone, I don't care how old you are, if my grandmother could have been was active on LinkedIn, y'all can be active on LinkedIn, and she's been retired for 25 years before she passed. You just have to do it. So build those connections, ask for advice, but not the too many cooks in the kitchen, because that is very real. Like 2 to 3 people, trusted advisors, use trusted resources, and that's what's going to help you out.
I'm going to add one more question to this interview. What about if you're older? Do you put your dates in? I've heard that say, don't put your dates in there. Don't put all that information in there because then that ages you and there might be some discrimination possibly. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Ageism 1000% exists. You're too old, you're too young. I still don't know what the perfect age is, but I say it for anyone that I still want at least 15 years of experience. So let's say you have 20 plus years of experience. I still want 15 years on there, but I tell anyone take off the year of your degree. Unless you did it in the last 2 years, take it off. And some of the earlier work experience you can shorten because I'm going to assume you didn't roll out of high school or college and you have this director position. I'm going to assume you probably have experience that's not on there, and that's okay. I know me as a hiring manager. I don't want to read a 20-page document. My eyes are going to glaze over, as would all of ours. So keep it short and sweet. And I've had some clients that are just like, well, I did this 20 years ago and it was really impressive. Okay, great. But the technology that's changed in the last 20 years, I love that for you, but I don't need 20 bullet points for your position you had 20 years ago. I'm sorry. So, and it's not that we want to lie about it in an interview. You still can bring it up,
Sure.
but shorten it. So, and even for, like you just said, your kids, at the age of getting out of college, they have a hard time too because it's now you're too young, you're stupid, you don't know anything, which it's like, what is the perfect equation here? So, for them, we want them to appear older on paper. So we'll put the jobs like your son was an RA. So putting his RA job on there, putting any volunteer experience, putting any organizations he was a part of, because that's how it is. I mean, I was young when I started my business. I was 24 years old when I started my business. Now, looking back is like, that's insane. But I would have people in my ear saying like, "Oh, these millennials are so stupid and they're the worst." It's like, okay, well, that's funny because you just hired a millennial, but they didn't know because I wanted to appear older because ageism was existing for me when I was in my 20s. So it's just this annoyance. And I think people are just forgetting that we were all like, you had to go through the hiring process. You were a young 20-something-year-old trying to figure out life. And I think a lot of people, there's a lot of noise out there where it's like everyone seems happy and have it figured out. And those same people are in my inbox crying to me on the phone saying, I hate my job. I hate my career. I hate everything. So it's like, take everything with a grain of salt and you just got to do what's best for you and find the right opportunity that's best for you. And don't let the carrot get dangled in front of your face. If the offer seems too good to be true, it probably is. And the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone is trust your gut. I mean, trust your gut with everything. And there are people like myself out there that if you're not sure if this offer is too good to be true, I'll read the contract for you. I'll read it. I mean, just like ask those trusted resources that you have available to you.
Okay. So, Angela, you call yourself a career therapist, and I can see why. From a psychology standpoint, how much of today's job search struggle is emotional versus technical?
Whew, it's hard to break it down. I do call myself a career therapist because I do have 2 psychology degrees, so I'm basically a therapist. But
I'm looking for the couch behind you, but I didn't see one. But
hey, I actually do have a great lounge chair that looks like a therapist chair that's behind this wall here,
okay,
funny enough. So I got to put it in when we record the podcast, right?
gotcha.
But I would say it's hard to break it down, honestly, but a lot of it is emotional. 90% is in my head, and that's just from my own inclination. But for people that haven't looked for a job, I have clients right now, I haven't looked in 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. A lot has changed. So I just gave advice to a client the other day. I was like, I want you to stop applying to jobs, which is wild advice to give, right? But she was so burnt out and just like going through the motions. And it's such an emotional toll because what people don't realize is when you're getting those rejection emails and it's the candid, no advice or
No feedback.
no feedback, right? That's what I was looking for. What happens on the back end? They could have closed the position. The position could have gotten canceled. The position could have been filled the day before you even submitted your application. But you don't know that as the job seeker. You're just getting that rejection. And I get it. It's on the recruiter side, hiring manager side, it's hard to reach out to when you have 500 applicants. So we give that rejection. And I always try to say, like, I'll give you some type of advice regardless. But when people are thinking like, I was a perfect fit for this role, why'd I get rejected? This sucks. Sometimes it doesn't have to do with you. So, and what I strongly think is happening in this market right now, I think, because I've had more HR and recruiters as clients than I've ever had, ever. And we work with about an average of 1,000 people a year crossover. I have never seen so many HR and recruiters as clients and even people I'm seeing on LinkedIn looking for jobs. So my theory is a lot of those people were laid off, let go, and now hiring is falling on the plates of people who've never done it before. So that's why we're getting this crazy dumpster fire of a mess of just like ghosting and let me take you through 7 rounds of interviews to reject you, like my client the other day. So it's just, you got me on my soapbox, Mark, and I don't know if I could step off, but there's just so much wrong right now, and it's just so frustrating.
There's so much we could talk about. I've got, those Dear John letters on Sunday nights at 3 AM thanking me for applying, but, or you were overqualified, or you don't hear anything back for 3 months, and then lo and behold, you get a note, "We've already filled the position." You ask for feedback and, "I'll get back with you," and you still don't hear back. So, I've been through all of that, and I totally hear what you're saying about you get to a point where it's like, so I need a break. I need a mental break of this. I need to get away because it doesn't matter if I keep applying because 'cause I'm not going anywhere. I'm not getting a job.
Right. And build looking at those communities of connection. So if you're spiritual and you go to church regularly, tell the congregation you're looking. And I'm not saying announce it from the rooftops if you don't feel comfortable with that, but tell people. I had another client, she's super involved with her daughter's school. And I said, hey, your daughter plays soccer. Why don't you ask? You're sitting there with the parents. She texts me the next week. She's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know one of the dads I'm good friends with is the CEO at this company it would be like the dream. So it's like you don't know who you're in the same room with ever, who you're sitting on the flight next to, if you drink. At the bar, I've made some of the best connections, and my highest paid speaking engagement I got was at my friend's 60th birthday party. So it's like, you just have to have that almost like sales mentality of, I'm in a room meeting new people. What do I want to say? We're not the used car salesman. We don't want that. But we want the like, oh, Mark, what do you do? Tell me about yourself. And that's how you and I have bonded over baseball, or we really hit it off on Thursday when we chatted. But it's like, stop saying, oh, I'm good. How are you? Or what's going on? Or, oh, it's so cold. The weather. It's like, give me a little something more.
Yep.
And that's how you build connections and get
Going with an
opportunities.
elevator pitch on yourself.
Yes.
I'm in marketing, so you gotta have that, right? You gotta have that little
Exactly.
have to have that in your back pocket. So, things are changing. AI tools, ATS systems, LinkedIn branding everywhere. What actually matters today when it comes to getting noticed, and what's mostly noise?
I would say what's getting noticed the most is when you send messages. So if you're on LinkedIn, and y'all should be on LinkedIn, you should send messages to the hiring managers or recruiters. We can opt in or out. When you're looking at a job and it says Angela Buccellato is the hiring manager, I'm opting in for that because I don't want to say it's a little test, but it is a little test. Are you going to message me and give me your pitch? Or are you just going to apply into the noise? So I still want you, even if you submit your resume into a traditional job board, I still want you to message the hiring manager. You also can use LinkedIn and any other board for that matter, see who you have company alumni, see if there's someone where you live, see if there's someone that you're connected with, or second degree connections, or friend of a friend of a friend. That's what's helping you out. And I would say when it comes to some of the AI tools, some are very helpful. I love Teal, Teal, just like the color. And you could upload your resume, and you could upload the job description and see how good of a match you are. And if you struggle with picking out the key terms, I think AI is great for that. So what are the key terms of this job description, and how can I put those on my resume? And a lot of people have tried to do it themselves or the old way, and you don't want to use AI so much that it's 100% AI, because we have AI filters. We have AI filters for resumes. So if it says it's 100% AI filtered resume, you're not getting called. I'm sorry. But if you use AI as like a thought leader in a sense, or something to bounce ideas off of, great. I had one resume. The client had an excellent resume. He spent 6 hours fine tuning it with the help of AI. So that was fine. Whereas he came up as it was like 20% AI in my filter. That's fine. But you can't have 100% AI resume, because you're just going to get rejected too.
Sure.
So we can't go all in on AI. We can't go all in on just doing it the old way. You need to have a good resume. You need to have a good LinkedIn profile. You need to interview well, and you need to be able to build connections. I know it's a lot.
Yeah. So with everything you see every day, what's giving you hope right now?
We're getting back to community. I see a lot of people just trying to help each other, or the Facebook groups are awesome where I get a bunch of referrals on, and I'm so thankful for that. Or just people I feel like are being more vulnerable, at least maybe they are with me, of just like how much this job search sucks. It gives me hope that people are kind of, maybe it's trauma bonding together, but understanding that things have to change. So the right hiring managers, the right recruiters, the right people in these positions are saying like, yeah, this is BS and we need to change it. So I'm hopeful for the future of coming back together as a community of how can we help each other out? What do we need to do? And getting back to that because we're bonding together in that sense, but also understanding life's hard. And if this last few years have taught us anything, is that we all have our own things we're going through, but people seem to be coming together a lot more than I've seen in other years. And that's just what gives me hope. Like, I'm so excited. I mean, I blessed to be on here coming through of different connections we have. So it's like we're coming back to that and understanding the right type of people can help each other. And that's what really brings me hope.
Angela, thank you. Thank you again for joining us today and pulling back the curtain on what's actually happening in the job application process. It's tough, you know. Sometimes you just want to pull it back over and say forget about it. I do appreciate you coming on, and that's actually why we do this show, to take what experts see on the inside and connect it to what real people are experiencing on the outsides. If you're out there navigating the job search, feeling stuck, burned out, or confused by the hiring process, and you want to tell your story, email me or DM me anytime. We want to hear your stories. And if you want to stay plugged into the real stories, real insights, or real humans behind today's broken hiring system, make sure to follow and subscribe to all our social channels for new episodes, shorts, and conversations every week. I'm Mark Lane, and this is Ghosted by the Machine, because behind every application, there's a human. So let's make hiring human again. Angela, thanks again for your time. I look forward to having more time with you. We got to chat more often. So thanks again for everything.
Yes. Thank you, Mark, for having me. It's been a pleasure.